Archangel Michael stood between you and disaster once. He still remembers. Here's what he needs you to know. There was a night, silent to the world, but echoing through the heavens, when a force meant to destroy you drew near. You felt it faintly, didn't you? The pressure in the room, the weight in your chest, the voice that whispered, "Don't go," or "Wait just a minute longer." That wasn't just your instinct. That was intervention. That was the hand of Archangel Michael stretched between you and a force that was ready to devour your future. And even though you moved on, even though you did see what almost caught you, Michael remembers. He remembers standing at the edge of that invisible battlefield. He remembers drawing his sword, not for a war of the world, but for the preservation of your calling, for the preservation of you. You were unaware, perhaps, unaware of the trap that was forming, a betrayal masked as an invitation, a temptation dressed in false light, a door that looked promising but led to collapse. What you called a change of heart or a gut feeling was the direct pull of divine interference, because you were on the verge of stepping into something that would have undone years of healing. You were seconds away from re-entering a cycle of pain, one that heaven already broke, and Michael was assigned not to let you fall back into it, because your life is not only about survival, it's about fulfillment, about divine restoration, about victory. This message comes now, not as a warning from the past, but as a sign of remembrance. Archangel Michael doesn't forget the battles fought for the chosen. He doesn't forget who he covered when darkness moved in silence. He doesn't forget your name, even when others spoke it with malice. This is why the memory returns now, because something familiar is approaching again. Something that carries the same vibration as that former disaster. It's dressed differently. It sounds kinder. It's whispering comfort. But its spirit is aligned with sabotage. Michael sees it. Heaven sees it. And now, so must you. Because you are not the same person you were when Michael stood between you and ruin. You are rising. And rising people must remember what nearly buried them. Let us now begin with the first message that Archangel Michael speaks into this hour. Archangel Michael says, "Be alert. Be still. Be guarded, because the winds are shifting around your name again." Heaven does not send a messenger twice unless the danger reappears cloaked in new garments. And tonight, Michael returns, not as a reminder of fear, but as a protector against repetition. You are walking into a season charged with movement. Names are being mentioned. Circles are realigning. Old shadows are finding new voices. And without spiritual discernment, what once passed you by could circle back to see if you're still vulnerable. But you are not vulnerable. You are covered. You are anointed. You are not the same. Still, Michael commands this warning. Within the next 3 days, your spirit will be tested again. A message may arrive. A person may return. A door may open that looks like an answer. But the answer is not in what is seen. It is in what is sensed. Michael says, do not rush forward. Pause. Listen. Pray. I am aligning heaven's vibration to whisper louder than the noise. Because there is a counterfeit unfolding. And if you move too quickly, you will mistake it for favor. You will mistake the familiar tone for healing when it is actually harm waiting with a gentle smile. This urgency is not to alarm you, but to arm you. Heaven never speaks without reason. And this message arrives at a divine time step because the spirit realm is awake right now. The enemies you outran once have regrouped. Not in rage but in strategy. Not in loudness but in silence. They are planning softly. They are watching subtly. And Michael is moving preemptively. His sword is drawn, not in fear, but in memory. Because the last time you almost fell, it was Michael who blocked the blow. And he will do it again. But this time, he wants you to see it. He wants you to feel it. He wants you to recognize how spiritually sensitive you've become, how aligned your instincts are when you stop chasing and start discerning. Archangel Michael says this moment is not random. It is rehearsal for what's ahead. If you can stand still here, if you can recognize the echo of danger before it fully forms, then nothing that approaches later will shake you. You're stepping into a prophetic rhythm, and heaven is trusting you to stay awake. You are not powerless. You are not in danger. But you are in a place of decision. And every spiritual decision now sets the stage for miracles or for more delays. Choose alignment. Choose discernment. Choose stillness. Type "I am guarded" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1414 is now in full activation. They think they know you. They think the version of you they remember is still the version of you that walked the earth today. They think the silence that followed your deliverance was weakness. They think your distance was confusion. But what they don't know is that your silence was sanctuary. What they don't understand is that your quietness was not absence. It was divine recalibration. While they whispered, you were being rebuilt. While they gossiped, you were being grounded. And now, as the vibrations shift again, Michael speaks. They are looking for you again, not out of love, but out of curiosity and control. A conversation happened. A name was spoken. Your name. And though your spirit did not hear the words, your atmosphere did. That uneasy feeling you couldn't shake. That pulse of heaviness behind your eyes. That was a signal. A spiritual alert. Someone, somewhere, resurrected your name for the wrong reasons. And what they said was not rooted in truth. It was laced with memory, misunderstanding, and fragments of the past they could never fully grasp. And now they want access again. Not to reconnect, but to reinterpret your story in their favor. Michael says, do not open the door just because they knock gently. Their tone may have softened, but their motive has not been purified. There is disruption hiding behind the disguise of reconciliation. There is a test clothed in familiarity. And the danger isn't just in what they'll say, it's in how they'll frame you if you say yes. Your silence has become too loud for them to ignore. They wonder what you're playing. They're speculating why you stopped sharing. And instead of respecting your healing, they are inventing reasons to dismiss it. That's not concern. That's spiritual surveillance. There are conversations happening behind veils. Conversations about your choices, your journey, your peace. They are not asking how you're doing. They are asking who you're becoming. They are not curious about your growth. They are uncomfortable with it. Because your transformation threatens their illusion. Your elevation disrupts their narrative. You've outgrown their version of you, and that creates a fracture in the control they once believed they had. This is where the spiritual tension rises. Because of what you've done wrong, because of what you've done right. Michael sees it. Michael knows it. Michael stood between you and this kind of disruption once before. He stood between you and a conversation you never heard, a plan you never saw, a lie you never knew was forming. And he shielded you. He muted the noise. He blocked the voice. And now, he returns with this message. They are trying to reopen the story I already closed. This isn't about revenge. It's about relevance. They want to make you relevant again in the circle they no longer belong to. They want to pull you back into a season they haven't left. You must stay guarded. You must stay quiet, not in fear, but in focus. You owe no explanations to those who misread your healing. You owe no access to those who distorted your silence. The power is in your pause. The authority is in your discernment. The weapon is your refusal to return to what once disguised itself as comfort but nearly destroyed your spirit. They do not get to redefine you just because they finally noticed your light. They do not get to rewrite your legacy just because they remembered your name. Archangel Michael is not whispering. He is warning. This is not a harmless reach out. This is not innocent curiosity. This is spiritual probing, and if you respond out of nostalgia or guilt, you will forfeit the clarity heaven worked so hard to establish. Don't misinterpret the knock. Don't over-explain your silence. Don't justify your absence. You've been rising quietly. Keep going. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them talk. If it hears them, it heaven is oediud. Type I am hidden in God in the comments if this message speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 7777 is now covering your atmosphere. They thought it was personal. They thought their issues with you were based on moments, misunderstandings, disagreements, or distance. But Archangel Michael speaks now to declare, this was never personal. This was always spiritual. But they perceived this conflict was actually a divine confrontation. Not between you and them, but between the darkness that clung to them and the light that lives inside you. That's why they couldn't understand your peace. That's why your silence provoked them more than your words ever did. Because it was never about you, it was about what you carry. You are not just someone with potential. You are someone with divine assignment. You are not just someone with goals. You are someone with God's fingerprints over your life. You are a disruptor in the spirit. You are a breaker of generational patterns. You are anointed for verity, for truth, for renewal. And when you stepped away, when you detached from the chaos, what you actually did was confront the stronghold. You disarmed manipulation. You interrupted cycles. You silenced confusion. And the spiritual world noticed. Heaven applauded. Hell reacted. And now, the ripple of that decision is circling back through the people who were once comfortable in your dysfunction. Michael stood between you and disaster because your destiny was under attack, not by loud weapons, but by subtle spiritual sabotage. He saw what you didn't see. He knew that the argument wasn't just about opinions, it was about oppression. He recognized that the emotional storm wasn't simply about feelings, it was about freedom. And when you chose stillness over chaos, you aligned with something greater than survival. You aligned with divine purpose. And anything that opposes that purpose must either submit or scatter. Archangel Michael declares, you were never fighting flesh. You were resisting spiritual familiarities sent to keep you small. This is why you couldn't stay connected to certain environments, even if you tried. This is why the same cycles kept repeating until you finally broke the pattern. Because heaven was waiting for your agreement. Not with people, but with destiny. Not with noise, but with clarity. And now that you've aligned, the realm of darkness is agitated. It's not just watching, it's stirring. Because it lost access to you. And now it wants to regain it, masked as old friends, old emotions, or old doors that seem harmless. You are not under attack. You are under confirmation. The resistance around you is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's the evidence that you're finally doing something right. This is a spiritual echo. The same energy that once tried to destroy you is now trying to distract you. But distraction is just another form of warfare. And Michael says, do not mistake restlessness for calling. Not everything that returns is a sign. Some things are temptations in disguise. You are chosen. You are set apart. You are under divine surveillance. Heaven has eyes on you, not because you are in danger, but because you are in transition. You're shifting atmospheres just by walking into rooms. You're exposing what used to be hidden just by being present. And those who haven't grown spiritually cannot understand your silence. So they call it cold. They call it distant. They call it prideful. But it's not pride, it's positioning. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You are exactly where heaven needs you to be. You not step down from this posture to explain yourself to those who never had the capacity to carry your truth. Archangel Michael stood between you and disaster because this elevation was already seen in the spirit. And now, he speaks again, not just to warn you, but to reveal to you that what felt like conflict was a calling. What felt like rejection was redirection. What looked like pain was the prophecy pushing you into motion. And the same Michael who defended you is now announcing, you are being fortified for more. Stay rooted. Stay alert. Stay spiritual. Type I am anointed in the comments if this message confirms what you feel. Blessing code 1516 is now activated around you. Archangel Michael speaks once more, and this time his words slice through the veil like a sword forged in divine urgency. They are moving again. Not in rage or not in open rebellion, but in quiet, calculated intent. The ones who once had access to your heart are now lining with whispers and silence, attempting to find their way back into your life. And though their words may appear peaceful, though their tone may carry nostalgia, the spirit attached to them is not cleansed. It is cunning. It is disguised. It is timely. And Michael declares, they are coming not to honor your growth, but to study your power. Within the next 72 hours, a name may surface. A message may arrive. A familiar vibration may pulse through your life. It may come as a hey, just checking in. Or a God placed you on my heart. It may be a comment on your photo. A voicemail from a number that once burned you. A third-party mention that seems too coincidental to ignore. But hear this now. It is not coincidence. It is spiritual reconnaissance. The enemy knows what you're about to step into. He has seen the gates begin to open, and he is desperate to delay your next level by rerouting your focus through emotional entanglement. This isn't affection. This isn't closure. This is a tactic. Michael says, they are trying to see if you still bleed where they once wounded you. But this time, you will not answer their pull. This time, you will not submit to their version of peace. This time, you will not give in to the illusion of resolution. Because you now see beyond the words. You hear the spirit behind the sentence. You recognize the energy behind the invitation. They want a response. Not because they care, but because your silence made them feel powerless. And if they can't control your presence, they'll attempt to control your perception. Do not let them. The plot isn't loud, it is subtle. The danger isn't in confrontation, it is in casual connection. That's how they'll move. With small gestures, with emotionally loaded questions, with half-truths masked as check-ins. And if you are not grounded, you will respond emotionally. You will rationalize why you should just reply, why you should hear them out. But that's not divine direction. That's soul confusion. And Michael reminds you, the last time you entertained this, you nearly forfeited your sanity. You cannot repeat that cycle again, not when you've come this far, not when heaven has invested this much in your healing. This is a spiritual ambush cloak and emotional bait, and your discernment will be your defense. Archangel Michael stood between you and this very danger once before, and now he is doing it again through this message. He wants you to be clear. This isn't reconnection. This is reconnaissance. And you don't owe them a single answer. Not a text. Not a call. Not a reason. Your silence is not bitterness. It is obedience. It is strategic. It is sacred. But prepare yourself. They may not stop at a single attempt. When one door doesn't open, they may knock on another. They may use someone else's voice. They may use a shared memory. They may try to speak through guilt, reminding you of all the good you once shared. But Michael declares, even the right memory in the wrong season becomes manipulation. This is not the time to look back. This is not the moment to soften. This is the season to stand your ground, with peace in your posture and fire in your discernment. You are not heartless, you are focused. You are not unforgiving. You are fortified. You are not bitter. You are becoming. And the weapons formed against your spirit won't look like knives. They'll look like invitations. Decline them. Archangel Michael is not sounding this alarm out of fear, but out of foreknowledge. Because the warfare around you isn't coming. It has already begun. Quietly. Strategically. Toughly. And if you are not alert, you will embrace the very storm you once escaped. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Type "I choose discernment" in the comments if you know this message was for you. Blessing code 3030 is now releasing spiritual clarity into your atmosphere. Archangel Michael now shifts his tone, not from urgency, but from warfare to wisdom. I shielded you once, and I am still stationed beside you. But now, it is your agreement with stillness that activates the protection around you. You are not being asked to fight. You are being asked to hold your ground. Not with noise, not with reaction, not with explanations, but with unwavering peace. The kind of peace that rattles the spirit realm because it proves you're not confused anymore. You're not seeking validation. You're not hunting for closure. You're not begging for clarity from voices that once caused your wounds. You have graduated from survival mode. Now, it is time to move in sacred stillness. Michael declares, do not explain yourself. Do not justify your distance. Let your silence preach louder than your defense ever could. Heaven doesn't require you to clear your name in rooms it never sent you to. The people who are questioning your silence weren't present for your storm. They didn't carry you through the breakdown. They didn't see the nights your soul screamed in private. And now that you walk with a different light, now that your peace speaks louder than your pain, they want access again. But this is not the season for explanation. This is the season for preservation. You've come too far to fold now. You healed too much to hand them another version of your trust. Your peace cost you. Your clarity came through tears and transformation. Your healing came through confrontation with the self, pulling old roots, casting out false narratives, and letting go of trauma that once wore a smile. The stillness is not passive, it is powerful. And Michael reminds you, it was not the sword that saved you last time. It was the stillness that let me fight for you. Heaven moves when you rest in divine silence. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them think what they want. You are not available for their version of events. Your destiny does not require their understanding, and their opinion carries no spiritual authority over your life. The reason They are uncomfortable with your silences because it exposes their manipulation. It reminds them that control is no longer in their hands. And instead of honoring your growth, they want to distort it. But distortion cannot survive where there is no reaction. Archangel Michael is standing again, not in front of chaos this time, but beside your restraint. Because restraint is your weapon now. You do not need to respond to false narratives. You do not need to call out every whisper. You do not need to set every record straight. You are not in that season anymore. You are in the season of divine trust. Trust that heaven sees. Trust that protection has already been assigned. Trust that stillness is your signal to the spirit world. I know who I am. I know what I carry. I don't need noise to confirm it. Your stillness is not hiding. It is heavenly strategy. It invites divine intervention. It confuses those who depend on your reaction to feel relevant. Michael says, stay grounded. Stay quiet. Let the fire fall around you, not within you. You are not called to explain this move. You are called to embody it. And when the time comes, heaven will speak louder on your behalf than any word you could form with your own mouth. Let them misread you. Let them underestimate you. Let them go silent when your peace becomes too intimidating. Your withdrawal is not your loss. It's your confirmation. You are now walking in divine resistance. Every time you choose stillness over explanation, you release heaven's army to act on your behalf. That's how spiritual authority is transferred. Not through arguments, not through breakdowns, but through quiet surrender to divine backing. Michael is fighting because you are silent. He is moving because you've chosen not to chase. He is clearing paths because you've stopped forcing open doors. Type I am protected by heaven in the comments if this word was for you. Blessing code 1919 is now circling your entire home with divine defense. Archangel Michael now shifts the atmosphere. A tone turns not from fire to calm, but from caution to confirmation. He stands before you, no longer blocking disaster, but now ushering in destiny. You have crossed over, he announces, from protection into power. The battle that once sought to consume you is now beneath your feet. The enemy that once whispered in your ear is now trembling at your silence. The same darkness that once aimed to bury you has become the soil that nourished your roots. And from those roots, a new version of you is rising. You are no longer who they thought you were. The version of you that needed validation, that longed for understanding, that waited to be chosen, that version has expired. You no longer walk with a wounded spirit, you walk with a warrior's rhythm. You no longer move out of fear, you move with foresight. You no longer seek acceptance. You now stand in alignment. Heaven does not raise those who cling to old identities. Heaven promotes those who shed them. And you, beloved, have been shedding for seasons, peeling back layers of falsehoods, unlearning systems of self-betrayal, and breaking pacts with patterns that never honored your power. Michael says, the one I stood between and the one I now stand beside are not the same. When disaster approached you the first time, you were in fragility. You were seeking safety. You were unaware of the magnitude of your calling. But now you are aware. Now you are conscious. Now you are activated. And this new awareness isn't just emotional. It is spiritual. It's prophetic. It's divine. Your discernment has sharpened. Your voice has deepened. Your steps now echo with purpose. You're not just surviving anymore. You are commanding the atmosphere with your very presence. This is why old doors are rattling again. Not because you're weak, but because you've become too strong to ignore. And the enemy doesn't fear the you who doubts. He fears the you who knows. He fears the you who no longer breaks at whispers. He fears the you who no longer chases fading affections. He fears the you who refuses to bow. And Archangel Michael is here to remind you, they cannot touch what heaven has sealed. They cannot destroy what heaven has crowned. Let the storm roll back. Let the shadows scatter. You are not in the same space anymore. You are not fragile. You are fine. You are not lost. You are located. You are not begging. You are building. You've become the answer you used to pray for. The door you used to knock on is now being opened through you. You are the shift. You are the sign. You are the standard. And they are beginning to see it, even if they won't admit it. Michael declares, you are rising. And no conversation, no slander, no distraction, no false connection will deter you this time. The elevation has begun. Not because the warfare stopped, but because you learned to stand while it roared. You learned to speak while it silenced you. You learned to be still while storms tried to break your resolve. And now, you're walking in new favor. You're walking in new clarity. You're walking in new oil. You are no longer at the mercy of what tried to crush you. You are the miracle they'll never understand. So rise, with grace, with fire, with silence where it's needed, with authority where it's required. Rise with a memory of the pain, but no attachment to it. Rise with awareness of the past, but eyes fixed on the future. Rise knowing that Archangel Michael did not guard your story so you could live a muted life. He guarded it so you could release the sound of your survival into the world. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your support helps us release more spiritually guided words like this one to the world. Type I rise untouched in the comments if this section awakens something in you. Blessing code 8181 now surrounds your steps with unstoppable favor. And now, the final wind begins to blow, not with chaos, but with clarity. Not with fear, but with fullness. Archangel Michael stands, not as a shield now, but as a witness to your unfolding. He speaks with a voice of finality, not warning, but release. This is the shift heaven saw long before you did. This is the transformation you were always meant to embody. This is the divine proof that what once nearly destroyed you has now become the foundation of your deliverance. You're stepping into prophetic resolution. The storm has not ended, but you have risen above its reach. And this is the moment everything turns. Michael has not forgotten the night he stood between you and disaster, and neither has heaven. That memory wasn't just a rescue. It was a prophecy. It was the foreshadowing of the version of you who would one day no longer need rescue, but would walk in such alignment that protection became a mantle you wore, not a gift you waited for. And now you wear it. You carry it. You embody it. You are no longer the one standing on broken ground. You are the groundbreaker. And because of that, something in the heavens is shifting again. A truth will come to light in the days ahead. Someone will reveal what was hidden. A conversation will be heard. A moment of divine clarity will intersect your path. And what once felt uncertain will suddenly make sense. The lies spoken about you will reverse. The energy aimed at you will return to sender. Not by your hand, but by divine order. Michael says, heaven is bringing confirmation to your clarity. Not to defend you, but to reward you. Because even when you were misunderstood, you didn't betray your peace. Even when they whispered, you kept your head bowed in reverence. Even when they looked for you in low places, you remained seated in high places, And for that, heaven has decided. Your elevation cannot be delayed. You passed the test. The final test wasn't about how well you fought, it was about how deeply you trusted. When you said nothing, you spoke volumes. When you didn't defend yourself, you became dangerous to the dark realm. Because darkness depends on your reaction. And you denied it. And now, prophetic reversal begins. Doors that were closed will open. Voices that once cursed you will go silent. Resources, support, ideas, healing. Everything that was held back is being released with divine urgency. This is not compensation. This is activation. The heavens are wide open. The spiritual climate around you is charged. Angels are being dispatched. Divine connections are aligning. Everything that tried to delay you will now define you. And Archangel Michael says this clearly. You were never behind. You were being built. Every delay, every tear, every moment of confusion, it was never wasted. It was a construction zone for your destiny. And now, the structure is ready. And so are you. Walk now as one who is established. Speak now as one who has survived the silence. Move now as one who doesn't need permission to shine. This is your time, not by man's calendar, but by heaven's blueprint. Everything is turning. Everything is aligning. Everything is moving, and it's moving for you. This is not a second chance. This is a spiritual upgrade. And no demon in disguise, no ghost from your past, no whisper from your yesterday can touch what heaven is unfolding now. Archangel Michael concludes this word not with a warning, but with a seal. The one I once shielded is now the one walking in the full light of God's promise. What was once preserved is now prepared. What was once hidden is now anointed for display. Type I am walking in prophecy in the comments if you know this transformation belongs to you. Lesson code 2244 is now pouring divine elevation into your life. This is your moment. This is your divine intersection. The realm of heaven has spoken, and the voice of Archangel Michael now shifts from messenger to mentor, from shield bearer to soul igniter. Now that you've been warned, now that you've been transformed, it is time, he declares, to respond, not with fear, but with fire, not with hesitation, but with holy conviction. The heavens are not asking you to be ready. The heavens are telling you, you are already aligned. This is not the season to remain passive. This is not the hour to stay in observation. This is the appointed time to take spiritual authority over your life and to declare agreement with what God is unfolding. Archangel Michael says, your voice is not just an echo, it is an instrument of activation. And now, you must use it. Not in debates, not in arguments, not to convince anyone who lost access, but to come into spiritual alignment with what you've just heard, what you've just received, and what is already circling in your atmosphere. The moment you type it, say it, declare it, something shifts, something releases, something moves. That's not superstition. That's spiritual law. Your alignment releases acceleration. Your agreement signals readiness. Your declaration sends a message, not just to heaven, but to every spiritual force watching and waiting for your response. Because while some are plotting, heaven is watching your posture. While some are guessing, heaven is listening for your yes. Your declaration is not a performance. It's your spiritual signature. So rise, not just in spirit but in speech. Stand firm and speak life over your identity. Michael says, you have been entrusted with revelation, and now you must engage with response. This is how destiny works. not by accident, not by coincidence, but by choice. Choose to align. Choose to obey. Choose to declare. Say what you mean. Mean what you say. And say it with spiritual weight. Speak with clarity. Declare with confidence. Post your agreement like a banner over your future. Let the enemies of your progress see that your silence was not weakness. It was waiting for divine instruction. And now that the instruction has come, your voice must carry that revelation forward. You are not waiting for confirmation. You are the confirmation. You are not praying for a sign. You are becoming the sign. You are not wondering if you are called. You are walking in the call. Say it aloud. Say it in your room. Say it in your heart. Say it in the comments. Let it ring in the realm of the unseen. I agree with heaven. I walk in the warning. I receive the protection. I declare the elevation. I stand in the transformation. I embrace the calling. I am ready. And the moment you do, Michael releases divine movement. Delays begin to lift. Shadows begin to clear. Blessings begin to find your name. Not because of emotion, but because of engagement. Because you chose to agree with the atmosphere heaven created just for you. Do not let this word pass you by without a response. Do not let this become just another message you scroll past. If this word found you, if your spirit stirred, if your soul trembled, respond. Seal it with action. Seal it with agreement. Seal it with a prophetic declaration. This is your spiritual yes. This is your supernatural transaction. This is how destiny opens, not through wishful thinking but through faithful speaking. Type I align with heaven's plan in the comments to confirm your spiritual agreement. Blessing code 1010 is unlocking acceleration in the next 10 days. Now the final seal is spoken, not as an end, but as a divine declaration over your beginning. Archangel Michael does not leave without leaving his mark, and this is his mark over your life. You are not a victim. You are the revelation. You are not forgotten. You are favored. You are not wandering. You are being witnessed. Heaven has seen your tears, but more importantly, heaven has seen your transformation. You are no longer the one disaster stalks in silence. You are now the one that disaster avoids, because the light within you is too blinding for shadows to linger. The divine war that once raged over your life has been seen. And heaven did not forget. Michael did not forget. The moment he stood between you and ruin was not a single act of mercy. It was the beginning of a divine mentorship. He has walked beside you ever since. Through your confusion he stood. Through your silence he guarded. Through your doubts he whispered. And now, as the chapter turns, he smiles, because the one who once needed saving has now become the very sound of salvation to others. A wounded version of you was not discarded, it was refined. The broken version of you was not abandoned, it was anointed. The whispers they spoke behind your back no longer hold weight. The memories they tried to weaponize against you no longer carry power. You have moved beyond rumor. You have moved beyond reaction. You have stepped into rhythm, heaven's rhythm. The vibration of favor now surrounds you. The timing of God is no longer pending, it is present. You do not need to knock on old doors. You do not need to chase outdated connections. You do not need to explain your silence or defend your distance. You are not behind. You are precisely placed. Michael speaks with divine finality. Let them whisper. You rise. Let them remember who you were. You will show them who you became. Let them speculate. Your stillness is not for their comfort. It is for your calling. Your life is now prophecy fulfilled. You are the walking echo of heaven's persistence. You are the answer to every moment the enemy tried to end your story prematurely. You are still here, and you are not just surviving. You are building, thriving, transforming, illuminating. No force can erase what heaven has recorded. No enemy can rewrite what heaven has ordained. The moment Michael stood between you and disaster, a stamp was placed over your life. Untouchable, unshakable, unbreakable. The enemy's plan was not just delayed, it was dismantled. The trauma you thought would drown you has now become your oil. The silence you once feared has now become your sanctuary. And the people who misread you will have to watch you rise without their permission, without their understanding, and without their narrative shaping your outcome. You are not obligated to be available to those who lost access. You are not required to revisit places heaven has already pulled you out of. You are not bound to restore what God has already released. You are the remnant. You are the roar. You are the rising. Heaven is pleased. Michael is present. And your destiny is no longer waiting. It is walking. It is speaking. It is moving. To you. So let this final word ring in your spirit. You are not the same. You never will be. And that is the proof that heaven won. Let them say what they want. Let them believe what they choose. You carry heaven's approval. You carry heaven's assignment. You carry heaven's light. If this message rooted itself in your soul and you feel led to support, we welcome your kindness through super thanks, super chat, or memberships. Gifts of $5, $10, or $20 help us keep delivering more messages of power and prophecy to those who need it. Thank you. Type I am the revelation in the comments to claim your divine identity. Blessing code 9999 now seals your elevation with vital and unstoppable favor.